Good evening, everyone. I call to order the regular meeting of the Victoria City Council. Let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The first item on our agenda, sounds loud, is our announcements. Our next budget workshop will be on Monday, July 26th at 5 p.m., where we will discuss fees and charges. We'll also hear from our department heads on budget pressures, cost savings, and operational efficiencies, followed by our maximum tax levy budget workshop on Monday, August 23rd at 5 p.m. There will also be a regular workshop on Monday, August 9th at 5 to discuss facility space needs recommendations and to review our ongoing comprehensive city code cleanup project. All city council meetings are open to the public and held in the council chambers at City Hall unless otherwise noted. We encourage anyone wanting to attend our council meetings or workshops in person to contact our city clerk in advance so we can ensure physical distancing can be maintained. In other announcements, there will be a special meeting of the council next week, Monday, July 19th at 5 p.m. We'll review the city's predatory offender residency restrictions ordinance that was enacted in 2017. During this meeting, the council will hold a public hearing and be taking community input on what changes the community would like to see in the ordinance. Night to Unite, formerly known as National Night Out, will be taking place this year on the evening of Tuesday, August 3rd. This annual event helps neighbors get to know each other and build partnerships between public safety, the city, and our community. We encourage neighbors to register their parties on the city's website. While we try and visit all the registered parties, we are only able to guarantee a visit by our fire department or sheriff's office for the first 20 parties that register. So be sure to register before July 15th to have the greatest chance at having a fire or sheriff's office visit your neighborhood's party. Please follow and like our social media channels or check out our website for more information on these events and more. We'll move on to our next item, that is the open forum. That's an opportunity for anyone to address the council on an item that is not on the agenda or in application form that will be coming to the council at a future date. There is no one registered to speak this evening. Is there anyone here in council chambers from the public who wishes to address the council? Seeing no one, we'll move on to our agenda. Our next order of business is to adopt the final agenda. Council, is there a motion to adopt the final agenda?
Motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item is the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are routine, administrative, do not require deliberation, or are housekeeping items that are required by law. Consent agenda items are approved with one vote unless someone requests an item to be considered separately. Ms. Hardy, does staff have anything they wish to pull from the consent agenda?
None from staff, Madam Mayor.
Council, is there anyone on council who wishes to pull any of the items? And anyone in the audience that wishes to pull any of the items on the consent agenda? Seeing none, can I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
Motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now moving on to our regular agenda. The first item on the agenda is item 6.1, a public hearing for considering approval of a temporary noise permit. Our city clerk, Cindy Patnode, will be presenting this evening. Ms. Patnode.
Yes. So we have one noise permit for a wedding that will be held outdoors, and the applicant is here, Linda Oberman, and the application, or the public hearing notice was sent to the 10 surrounding neighbors within 350 feet, and nobody has responded with any complaints or concerns. And so I know you have the public hearing to decide if you want to do it, accept it, and then Linda is able to discuss any questions you have with her.
All right, thank you, Ms. Patnode. This is a public hearing, so I will open the public hearing if there is anyone who would like to speak to this item. Anyone in the audience that would like to speak to this item? One last chance. Anyone who'd like to speak? Seeing no one, I will now close the public hearing, and I'll open the floor for the council to discuss. Is there council discussion?
I'm fine with it.
All right. Seeing no discussion, let's have a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. Have a great wedding.
Yes.
Can I get an invite though? My approval was contingent upon me attending.
Gonna be a wedding crasher?
I don't know if that's a reputation we want to counsel that crashes weddings. All right, moving right along. Item 6.2 is a consideration of the Huntersbrook First Edition Final Plat and Zoning to Planned Unit Development. Presenting this evening is our Community and Economic Development Director, Marty Dahl, who is joining us virtually this evening.
Hey, Marty.
Good evening,
Good
Mr.
evening,
Dahl.
Mayor, members of the council. Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me okay and are seeing my screen. I apologize. I am unable to be there in person this evening, but I'm glad that I'm able to conduct this presentation virtually.
We can see and hear
So-
you perfectly, so proceed.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So yes, we are here before you for consideration is the final plat and zoning for the Huntersbrook, formerly Rolling Hills, first edition final plat. So just a little bit of background on how we got to this point with this development. Back in November, both the Planning Commission and the City Council reviewed a sketch plat, provided feedback and some recommendations for the development. The developer went back and incorporated much of that feedback and came forward with an application for preliminary plat, which was considered and recommended for approval on April 6th by the Planning Commission and approved by the City Council. As this parcel was not within the City of Victoria's boundaries at the time, the City Council also considered approval of an annexation of the property on April 12th, which was approved. And on April 29th, the Minnesota Office of Administrative Hearings officially ordered the annexation, and this property became part of the City of Victoria. Now at the final plat stage, June 15th, the Planning Commission reviewed and recommended approval with conditions. So just taking a look at the development, again, this is the Huntersbrook First Edition. The applicant is proposing the property to be zoned as Planned Unit Development, or PUD, with R1 underlying zoning. The first edition of this development includes 115 residential lots and 1 clubhouse. 43 of those are their larger tradition single-family lots, 35 as their slightly smaller heritage single-family lots, and 37 of the Revere Villa lots. Staff and the Planning Commission has reviewed the final plat and believe that it is generally consistent with the approved preliminary plat. The Planning Commission and staff also reviewed the conditions that were placed upon the preliminary plat and have deemed them to either have been addressed or to be adequately addressed as part of new conditions of final plat approval. As I mentioned, this is the final plat for the first edition of the Huntersbrook property. So you can see on the map to your right of the screen, the area outlined in blue is what would be part of this first edition that is being considered for final plat today. The area in red on both the west and east side of the development are being proposed for a future second edition, which have already been preliminarily approved. And then the area in green, Outlot I, is being preserved for a potential future development as well. The plat was included as part of your background packet, but I do have slides here showing some of the insets so you can see the lot breakdown and things a little easier, and I will click through those, but we can always come back to them at a later time if you have questions. So lot regulations for the lots being proposed, this is the same as preliminary plat. We're looking at lots varying in size depending on the style of lot, from 6,050 square feet up to 9,680 square feet for the minimum size. Lots will vary upward depending on placement and those sort of things. The lot widths will vary from the 55-foot minimum for the Revere Villa lots to 66 for the heritage lots and 76 feet wide for tradition. Looking at 130-foot depth for the tradition single-family homes, 125 for heritage, and 110 for the Revere homes. All of the parcels would have a 7.5-foot side yard setback on each side, so a total of 15 feet between homes. The front yard setback would be 25 feet for all homes except for those Revere homes that are along the Collector Road, which was one of the items that the Planning Commission and Council had indicated they would like to see a farther setback on that neighborhood Collector Road. And then rear yard setbacks will be 30 or 25 feet depending on the style. All corner lot side yard setbacks, the street side are to be 20 feet, and the maximum impervious surface for this development is proposed at 45% for tradition lots and 50% for the heritage and revere lots. As was noted, this development is also proposing a clubhouse. This clubhouse lot would be HOA owned and maintained, which is a permitted use within an R1 district. The clubhouse is proposed to be used by all homeowners within the development and include a fitness area and pool, among other amenities. There is also proposed on-site parking spaces as well as additional bump-out parking along Harvest Trail. The applicant is also proposing a monument sign at the median of Harvest Trail here at the right-in, right-out intersection on the northern part of their property, the northern access. This sign would also be typical to other developments HOA owned and maintained, would require a sign permit at time of installation, and will also require a maintenance agreement since it is intended to be within the median in the public right-of-way. Moving on to parks, trails, and dedications. So the overall Huntersbrook property requires a total parkland dedication of 8.91 acres. The applicant is proposing to dedicate land of 5.46 acres, which is outlot L for a for a city park, as well as 1.22 acres of trail corridor and construction of trail that I will show in just another slide here as part of the first addition to satisfy a portion of their parkland dedication. Then the applicant would intend to pay the remaining 2.23 acres in fee in lieu of land as part of a future second addition. So this slide here shows the sidewalk and trail network proposed throughout the first edition. The areas in red are the trails that are proposed as part of the park credit area. These include a 30-foot corridor, trail corridor. The blue is sidewalk, with the green being the collector roadway trail system. One of the other items of discussion during preliminary plat, both at the Planning Commission and City Council level, was a screening and protection along the north side of the property to help provide a barrier to the Schmieg Hilltop Farm, which is an active cattle grazing area. The developer has proposed, and staff is supportive of a 4-foot tall white picket fence along that northern property line, with the exception of this far northwesterly kind of steep slope area. This fence along the property line would also be owned and maintained by the HOA. Tree replacement. So the total calculation for tree replacement in this property was that 7,950 inches of replacement would be required. The applicant is proposing to plant 2,496 inches in replacement, which is excluding 500 additional inches in buffer trees, which do not count towards replacement trees. Staff was also supportive of some additional credit for some of the property and things that the applicant is providing, including the parcel for the lift station, right-of-way along County Road 11, some passive parkland, and then Collector Road Trail and the fencing along the northern property. All in all, that calculation came out to approximately 2,200 caliper inches remaining, and the applicant is to provide $222,400 to the city's tree fund to satisfy the remainder of the tree replacement. As has also been discussed during preliminary plat, the applicant is expected to provide some contribution towards the County Road 11 Victoria Drive improvements. Those improvements are tentatively scheduled for 2022. In lieu of the applicant providing a trail along that county road, which would typically be required in these types of developments, and providing turn lanes into their development, Because this area is to be completely reconstructed next year, staff is proposing that the developer provide an equivalent in cash to constructing the turn lanes and trail with an additional 25% in a letter of credit to hold on to those funds for that future construction project. The intention would be that the city would then invoice the developer as the project commences of the actual cost for their contribution and or if needed, draw from that letter of credit. The final amount for that estimated cost is still being determined. Staff is estimating that between $350,000 and $550,000, which would be divided between both this development and the proposed development, Rolling Hills South to the south. As has also been indicated, adequate right-of-way is already included in the plat for this construction project, including trail. In addition, some sewer and water lines will need to be oversized to provide additional capacity for properties to develop in the future to the north and to the west. The city has traditionally in developments paid the difference for oversizing sanitary sewer and for oversizing from the sanitary sewer and water enterprise funds. This final number is also yet to be determined, but staff is estimating that the city's reimbursement to the developer will be approximately $80,000 to $100,000 for oversizing costs, and this reimbursement would not be made until the installation and acceptance of the utilities. As has been noted, the plat includes a parcel for a city-required lift station, Outlot K. A contract has been awarded for construction of the lift station, and the city is continuing the process of acquiring easements with adjacent property owners to extend utility services. Finally, stormwater management. So this parcel is in the Carver County Watershed Management Organization area and is subject to their rules. Final approval from the WMO will be required prior to the city signing off on the development and allowing it to be recorded. And then just a bit of a change from the last time this was before the city council. There had initially been a proposal for a stormwater capture reuse system that was meant to meet the WMO permit requirements for irrigation of the park. With further conversations between the applicant and the city, the applicant is now proposing to keep that capture reuse system as an HOA owned and maintained facility, and rather than irrigate the park, it will irrigate the clubhouse lot and some of their conservation buffers. As was noted in your background packet, there will be some development fees that will be required. They are listed here for a total of $681,000. We've mentioned in addition that the city will expect to invoice for the cost of the County Road 11 project with the equivalent of turn lane and trail installation, and that city expenses will include reimbursement of utility oversizing. So with all of that said, staff is recommending approval of the final plat and zoning to PUD with the following conditions: that the applicant address all of the items noted in the most recent version of the staff and engineers response memo and receive final city approval of all of their construction plans, that a letter of credit be provided to the city for the estimated costs of the financial contributions towards County Road 11 improvements, that a development agreement be finalized and the applicant pay all applicable fees to the city and provide the required financial guarantees, that the CCWMO provides their final approvals, that the final plat is recorded within 120 days of approval, the city is provided with Mylars, that the applicant is in compliance with the PUD district standards that would be established in the ordinance that is before you this evening. They remain in compliance with the city attorney's plat opinion, that all of their HOA documents and covenants are submitted and recorded, and that adequate disclosures are also submitted and recorded. And with that, Mayor, members of the council, I will turn it back to you for discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Dahl. Council, discussion, questions.
I have two questions.
Councilmember Black.
Thank you. On the irrigation system that you're going to keep under the homeowners association. Will the residents be able to tap into that and use it for watering their lawns?
Welcome.
Hello, Mayor.
Please,
council members.
please state your name and position for the record, please.
Pat Rossi, Project Manager with Tradition Development. The irrigation system will not be available to individual homeowners. We're using it to irrigate the clubhouse facility and some of the common HOA areas. But no, we have not included service plans for the individual households.
Okay, and then the second question I had was about the fencing. I saw gaps at your stops on the roads. What is planned there?
Well, originally, those are future roadways. It would be extended to the north. Originally, we thought that we might put some temporary fencing in there, construction fencing. Since that time, we've planned to, we're doing such a large amount of fencing out there, thousands of feet. We're just gonna run right through
Okay.
those locations. And then if and when those roads come through, we'll pull those sections out and salvage them for other locations.
Okay, that was my main concern. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Black, anything else?
No.
Council, other questions, comments? I have a question. I think this is for Mr. Dahl. Mr. Dahl, the tree fund, when they're not able to plant the trees equivalent to the ones that they're taking down, what happens with that tree fund? Do we plant trees elsewhere in the city, or how is that handled?
Yeah, Mayor, members of the council, that tree fund is used for a variety of different things. It can include being used to provide replacement trees in any city-owned areas, parks or boulevards where the city may have the responsibility for trees. It can also be used to help with removal of dead or dying or diseased trees, as well as, I believe, can be used to assist in treatment of trees as well.
Thank you. Council, any other questions about this?
I just have one question.
Councilmember Roberts.
Marty, this is probably for you. So the 125% for the turn lanes going in, right, that were of the estimated cost. We've seen prices fluctuate a lot over the last year on lots and lots of stuff. It seems like everything. Is there any thought to asking for a higher percentage, or is that even feasible to make sure that we are covered, that, the estimate isn't way off, that prices don't go way up by the time we get to the implementation of turn lanes and the other stuff there?
Sure, and Councilmember Roberts, I might actually punt this one to Kara, if you're able to address that.
Sure. Councilmember Roberts, Mayor, members of the City Council. Hi, Marty, from our little picture in the screen. So 125% is what we typically take for security amounts, so that's our standard practice. What's a little bit tricky about this and why we haven't been able to really dial in a number yet is all we have completed is a concept plan. So there is some risk because we won't be designing the turn lanes until this coming year. So what we're trying to do is determine what is a reasonable contribution for them to make towards what will be an overall roadway improvement. So there still will be city funds that will be needed to complete that project. If you recall from the corridor study presentation, we're actually going to be adding a median along that length of the corridor for a safety improvement for all the users of the roadway. So yeah, we're trying to figure out and work with the developer on what's a reasonable contribution for them to plan for.
Thank you.
Council, any last questions? With that, is there a motion?
I make a motion to adopt the attached ordinance zoning the Huntersbrook property as planned unit development, approve the final plat for Huntersbrook first edition with conditions as presented, and approve resolution for summary publication.
Terrific. Can I have a second?
Second?
Any further discussion?
Mayor,
Yes.
it's fine to make a single motion on that. I just would point out that the resolution for summary publication requires a 4/5 approval. So if we were to not have a unanimous vote, we may want to break that out, but I'd let you go ahead and proceed with the.
Okay.
See how that goes.
Thank you, Mr. Vos. We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. No need to break that out.
Right.
Terrific. We'll now move on to reports and emerging issues. Attorney Vos, any reports from you?
Mayor, council, I like to say things at your meetings, but I have nothing to say.
Thank you. We like it when you
Come
say
up with
things.
something.
Yeah. Everything you say is always smart. Ms. Hardy, any reports from staff?
None from staff, Madam Mayor.
All right, council, anything from council? Councilmember Black, who shyly raises her hand.
I just wanted to ask, and I didn't know if this is something that I do now or if I should ask later, but Chaska just posted, because they had a
Thank you.
question about golf carts and what the law was. And they were saying that 16 and/or with a driver's license. So I was wondering about that, and are we making 18 too difficult for a golf cart? Should we,
Ms. Hardy, can you advise us on how we should handle this question at this
Yeah.
point, since we're not discussing this on the agenda?
Mayor, Councilmember Black, members of the council, unless our attorney has something to say right now, I think I would recommend that if the council wants to re-examine this, because we are bringing, it's a pilot ordinance essentially.
Right.
So we are bringing it back. You essentially have two options. You could, under this, direct us to do a little bit further research, work with the city attorney and the league, and bring some information back for your consideration now, or we could keep it as is and add that question as part of our evaluation when we bring this back to you in whenever it was. We've got it written down, I think, March next year.
I didn't know when. The reason I asked was because I thought we were doing this to try to make it more uniform for the police. And after they wrote that today, I'm going, oh, I was hoping to kind of make it so that they knew, at least in the Carver County, that it was kind of the same uniform.
A good point, council.
Yeah.
Based on what Ms. Hardy has said, thoughts?
We just
Anyone
bring it
want to
back?
bring it back before the 9-month pilot project is over? Any interest in doing that
Are we getting any feedback saying that?
from
Well,
residents?
most of the people don't know yet that we switched it to 18.
I've had a couple people ask me, just, does that include downtown? And
Well, yeah, but it's always been 16 since we did the ordinance initially. So to flip it to 8, I mean, the others, I would still go with 18, but
So-
the golf carts, I'm wondering.
Council, any interest in having staff bring back a revision to the ordinance?
Nobody's saying anything?
I would be in favor, I would be in favor of waiting for the 9-month trial period to lapse and then revisit it at that point. That would be my thought.
Okay,
Councilmember Roberts is
I'm fine with that.
waiting.
okay. All right, I just thought,
Councilmember Gunderson, yes, for consensus here. Councilmember Hebert.
he's biting his tongue. But
yeah, so,
What,
I'm okay with your suggestion.
okay,
I think we're going to wait till we come back for the,
all right.
all right.
And then the other thing is, people, neighborhood roads are 25 miles per hour. Please slow down. I've gotten more people saying, oh, well, it looks like they're driving 45. So just think about it. There's children walking around, so.
Kids are out of school. Good reminder. Thank you, Councilmember Black. Anything else? Any other council members with thoughts? Mayor has no report. There are no more items to come before the body this evening, so may I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned. Let me find my.
Just like.